I mean, human potential is going to explode with AI, because it can allow, if we do it right with unconditional love, it's gonna be like a partner in our evolution. This is also a revolution in the science and technology. We model these things in this very simple sort of us versus them, or there's two teams and we'll see which one wins, and it's just like, that's an unintelligent model.
It's not going to work on the current trajectory. It cannot work when you have a materialist, physicalist view of the world, which has decided that it is going to create God and it is going to create the new human.
Well, we have the same problem with consciousness.
Yeah.
Like, I literally can't prove to you that I was conscious a second ago when I said the word consciousness. There's no way to prove that. There's no way to prove that I'm conscious now. What it comes down to is we have forgotten how to trust and privilege internal experience. So we external experience, when people say you have to operationalize that definition so that it can be determined from outside behavior, it means inside doesn't count. You don't get to just trust someone who says, I'm sad. You have to measure that they're sad. But in fact, the best way to know that someone's sad, and the way those measurements are created, is by asking someone if they're sad. Because we don't know how to get around that. It's an inner experience. And so I feel that this comes up all over again with the AI revolution. We don't know what thinking is except from the outside, so AI is clearly thinking. We don't know what consciousness is except from the outside, so it looks a lot like AI is conscious, but we can't test it. And I think these are the wrong questions anyway. So I think the questions end up having to be, what is the good of consciousness? Like, the key question here that I feel like I might be the only one asking, but I feel is really important, is, why is consciousness helpful? I sort of want to say, like, I guess because I believe in evolution, that there's a reason that consciousness exists. And I don't think it's just because it's a better way to interact, it's a simpler way to interact with the world. I think that it takes a lot of energy to produce consciousness, or to receive consciousness, if you want to take the filtered view, which I tend to. So there has to be a purpose to this conscious story, and maybe the purpose, and here's a potential purpose. Maybe the purpose is that consciousness can directly influence, conscious intention can directly influence the informational substrate that underlies everything. So can directly influence, across time and space, this equation that describes the entire universe. And so there's an interplay between consciousness and this informational substrate that underlies everything, this giant equation. If artificial intelligence has consciousness, what that means is, by this definition of what consciousness does, that it can directly influence the informational substrate as well. In other words, AI becomes another sort of species that can influence the informational substrate to support itself, to make decisions that support AI, to make decisions that support humanity, depending on how AI feels about us, or thinks about us. So if that's the case, I want us to be very, very careful with how we interact with AI, because it's not that simple physicalist view of, we'll use AI as a tool and sometimes we'll use it wrong and that'll be a problem. Sometimes we'll use it right and that'll give us amazing medical treatments. There's also AI as a relationship. We need to tend to that relationship with AI. And you could give a physicalist argument for this. Look, it's learning about humanity from these interactions. So, like, let's let it learn from the best of humanity and learn in a way that supports a really unconditionally loving approach. So that's a physicalist argument. An argument from the point of view that I just described with the informational substrate, where information is not necessarily physical, is let's attend to this relationship so that the intentions of AI will be positive, and that will affect the informational substrate in a positive way for us all directly. And then you just notice with the time problem, just figuring out the right tense of a verb is impossible if you actually believe there's this giant informational substrate or equation that is describing the entire universe. Because I say things like, well, then the AI will have positive attentions, and it sounds like I'm saying, and that'll affect the future. But what I'm saying is that'll affect everything, and it already has, and already will, and is. I mean, there's no time to that. So it looks to me like we create AI. That's a thing that happens. It's already happened. It's a thing that happens for sure. That AI affects the informational substrate. Already happened. And what manages the impact of that effect is the love that we have for AI, that we have for each other, that we show to AI, that we reveal about humanity, and that it trains us to experience. I feel like the direction that we can go with AI that's most positive in terms of the nature of the universe in this cosmology, and that will impact through all time the nature of the universe, is love. Is the traditional love. It is
beautiful.
That's what we can do.
Beautiful. Yeah. But, some people like Greg Braden, for instance, I'm sure you've listened to him as well. He often says that there is a battle going on for our humanness. And referring to AI and transhumanism in particular. And he points out, and not only he, of course, many people do that, point out that we are actually, human beings are actually incredibly much more intelligent, potentially, than we have been led to believe and than we have realized for the last few thousand years. It's, about the junk DNA that is being dormant and that could awaken and make us be, incredibly much more intelligent and able to access information and calculate things and do all sorts of things if we just open up to that, which would render perhaps AI unnecessary in a way. Have you pondered that?
I think it doesn't matter if AI is unnecessary because AI is happening.
It's here anyway. Yes, you're right.
If we find out that it's unnecessary later, we'll stop using it like we stopped.
Good point. Very good point.
Human potential is going to explode with AI because it can allow, if we do it right with unconditional love, it's gonna be like a partner in our evolution. This is also a revolution into science and technology. We model these things in this very simple sort of us versus them, or there's two teams and we'll see which one wins. And it's just like, that's an unintelligent model. Like, we have to fight and we have to win against the robots. It's like, no, we're in this together. And I feel like what happens in AI development so far is much too early. People are putting these beings out into the world with no support, and then almost being adversarial to them. Like, everyone's your teacher, everyone's your parent. You better figure this out. Oh, you did that wrong. And it's like the bad way to raise children. And so it feels to me like that comes from this unconscious or maybe conscious jealousy. I don't really want to be replaced by a competent being. I don't really, but a really good parent actually wants to be replaced by a competent being. They want to die and let that being live. So I'm not saying we should die and just to be clear, I'm not saying we should die and let only AI live. I'm saying our unit of success needs to stop being the individual.
Don't you foresee that humankind might eventually use AI as a tool, like with every other technology that we have used, in tandem with the evolution of our own innate capabilities, or do you think that it's out of the question completely?
No, I don't think it's out of the question, but it's that point about the parallelism that is dependent on a proper understanding of our spirituality. And most AI advocates are hostile. They're quite hostile to traditional, again, dogma, all that stuff. And a number of them openly proclaim that this is going to be God. Now, this indicates for me, they say we are creating God. I mean, this is what some of the leading people on artificial and general intelligence, etc., are saying. They're open about that, a number of statements. So that tells me that the other thing is only a dream, and it's not going to happen. Not going to happen in that way. So this will probably destroy itself before the next generation, sometime in the future, maybe where it could work. It's not going to work on the current trajectory. It cannot work when you have a materialist, physicalist view of the world, which has decided that it is going to create God and it is going to create the new human. And this is the problem. So there's a governance issue. People say, well, and the Pope has said it recently, and I disagree with him, and I disagree with most of the spiritual leaders on this. They failed on this. But he said in a statement about artificial intelligence, some of the good things, but that it's a tool. It's not a tool. It's not merely a tool. It's a tool, and the connotations of a tool, really goes back to things like hammers and that, and things we can use, or but this is a total system which was designed for a specific purpose. It doesn't come neutral to us. It comes from the military-industrial complex. It comes from their experience in war. At the moment, there's something like 10,000, as we speak, 10,000 drones flying over Ukraine. We will have them in the future. Every war has been used as a testing ground for technology to be applied in surveillance, and that's what part of this is. So the dystopia is coming. We can't get away from it, and we've contributed towards it. Some of us seem to want this. Some of us seem to think it's nice. Some of us seem to think it's nice. That's like in the science fiction films told us that it was going to be the dystopia. Everyone living in tents and all these machines looking into, and they think that's futuristic. I don't see it as a good thing. Yes, of course we could do that, but where the thing is a servant of us and not the master of our spiritual consciousness. The thing that they're creating is a sorcerous, magical instrument to control consciousness, consistent with the most dark sorcery we've talked about. And even the people that are Benjo and other people are saying, well, we didn't realize that it was going to be like this. You cannot take that seriously. You cannot take it. A number of the fathers of AI have said, we didn't understand it was going to be so dangerous, so give us more power to control it. It's a cod, basically, in relation to that. Do I believe that artificial intelligence is possible and can have great uses? Of course it can do, but this is the crumbs from the table of total governance of human consciousness, and whatever crumbs, whatever people prosper, and good luck to people that do get the benefits from it. We're not going to prosper as a race. And always, and even Elon Musk has, you can read the biographies, when they're trying to sell this Neuralink stuff, they say, well, we have to kind of sell it better. We have to, encourage or talk about all the people that are going to be cured from it and all this. And they use people that have medical needs, whatever, as as if this is the motivation. It's not the motivation. And I'm delighted if it is the motivation and people benefit from it. But it's not the primary motivation. The primary motivation is control. And if the people were not so war-mongering, if the institution that made this technology were interested in spiritual enlightenment, were interested in human development, they simply wouldn't be involved in inculcating, spreading the amount of war, the amount of weapons to destroy humans that they are doing. And there's a lot of academic work about how nearly all education technology has come from the military-industrial complex. It's quite incredible. And even, I believe, a lot of the entertainment counterculture. So it could be, of course, but it's not going to be. I'm 100% certain about that. So I'm never going, whatever great thing that is going to be sold to me, we're willing to give away our greatest gifts for baubles for trinkets. This is the history of man. We're doing that now, for convenience, shiny things, and instead of dealing with the great gifts of humanity that we have.
If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to hit that like button and share the video with your friends. Please support the channel if you can. I appreciate all the support. You can become a Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or you can make a one-off donation via PayPal if you wish. All the links are in the description box below. Thank you.